So our first school that we're going to be talking about today is Amador Valley High School. I did talk with some parents before this webinar, and they are planning on moving to the Bay Area. So I did put the city up just in case they don't know exactly where Amador Valley is. It is located in Pleasanton. And so for a brief introduction on Amador Valley, one key point that separates them from the rest is that they are very successful at the USAJMO math competitions, and they do have a solid variety of AP course options. We'll be getting into the USAJMO part in the key characteristics slide. And then going through this more of the basic information, the teacher to student ratio is 1 to 24. Just for a reference, the California average is 1 to 23. And then 79% of their teachers have 3+ years of teaching experience. And the California average, just for your reference, is 88%. So for the teacher to student ratio, a little bit higher than the average. And then for the teaching experience, it's a little bit lower than the California average. And then rounding out our basic information, we have for extracurriculars, 70 clubs and 24 sports. And then for 2020 and 2019 admission rates for UC Berkeley and UCLA, there was a drop in both categories. It's definitely pretty common that schools did see a drop from 2019 to 2020 due to COVID-19. UC Berkeley's was a little bit more significant at about a 9% drop. It went from 26.29%, which is very high, to 17.49%. And then UCLA went down a little bit by about 4% from 12.5 to 8.5. So now we'll get a little bit more into the university enrollment numbers. Some of the schools that we're covering today were nice enough to show us a pie chart of exactly where each student went, like the percentage for UC, CSU, or private. However, some schools didn't. So instead, we're breaking down the enrollment numbers specifically for the UCs and also some notable universities. So for the 2020 UC enrollment numbers, there was a lot of popularity for UC Santa Cruz and Berkeley at 32 and 23 respectively. And there was also some decent interest in Davis at 17 students getting enrolled there. And then to round out those numbers, there were 7 for Los Angeles, 15 for San Diego and Santa Barbara, 4 for Irvine, and 5 for Riverside. And then no data on Merced. These numbers were pulled from the UC admissions database. There was no data on Merced, so it's either 0 or not reported. And then some other notable universities that students got admitted to from Amador Valley in 2020 and 2021 was Stanford, Cornell, NYU, UPenn, University of Pennsylvania, and Northeastern. So getting into Amador Valley's key characteristic, which is their USAJMO competition, recently Amador Valley students have seen a lot of success at the USAJMO, which stands for the United States of America Junior Math Olympiad competitions. This year, Amador had 6 students in this year's USAJMO qualifiers. For comparison, Dougherty Valley did have a good amount as well at 5. And then the other 3 schools that we're covering today, Mission San Jose, Foothill, and Irvington, all had 0. And then we threw Lynbrook in here as well. Lynbrook is a high school located in San Jose, and they're very well known for math competition success. They had 5 students for a similar competition, USAMO. But as you can see, for the USAJMO, Amador Valley even did better than a very good math competition school as Lynbrook. So we just wanted to kind of show that statistic for you. If I were to say anything about Amador Valley, is that recently it's been definitely a very good school for students who are interested in math or competing in math competitions. And lastly, for Amador Valley's academics, one key point is that despite the admission rates dropping last year for UC Berkeley and UCLA, Amador Valley did see their academic numbers for the ACT and the SAT increase. Their ACT score went up from 28.5 in 2019 to 31 in 2020, and then their SAT score went up from 1,285 to 1,360. And then, as I said before, they do have a wide variety of AP courses at 25. And then rounding out their academics, their National Merit Semifinalist, or NMSF, went down slightly from 35 to 27 in 2020 and 2021. And then for their AP tests, 94% received a 3 or higher, and 47% of students scored a 5. Now for the California Assessment of Student Performance, or the CAASP, 81% were college ready for English, which is very good, and then 70% were college ready for math. So that is all for Amador Valley High School. So let's move on to our second school now.